This is a quick guide on how to use the Mortar Sentry turret. Some of the biggest mistakes I see people commonly make, they don't know where to place it or they don't know how to place it. You're going to basically be sniping your enemy with this stratagem, so you want to make sure that you place it far off in the distance. You also want to make sure you place it in an area that's partially hidden, like behind a rock, building structure, or some type of cover that it can fire over. You also want to measure your sentry's range and make sure that you stay out of its line of fire. Now, I also like to watch my sentry so I know when it's firing and where it's firing. Another mistake I see a lot of people commonly make is they will place their turret to fire on an area that's inhabited by friendly units. What you want to do is you want to, on top of sniping, you want to be the first person to attack that location. That's why I like to throw it either far ahead of myself or far behind myself, because I'm trying to measure already, and I'm also trying to deal with the enemies that are either way in front of me or way behind me. So that way it's a catch-up process for the rest of your teammates. They see that it's still firing and they deal with the enemies at a distance. That's the main way you're really supposed to use this turret. Now, this next tip goes for everyone, from turret users to just friendly allies. You want to wait till the area is cleared before moving in. I see a lot of people that don't have communication or situational awareness. They'll just run in while it's still clearing. You have to pay attention to the turret. You also have to pay attention to where it's firing. I see so many people that don't do this. It's not always bad placements. Sometimes it's just bad teammates. When you communicate, pay attention to the turret, and use your better judgment, it's actually a pretty easy stratagem to use. I also want to demonstrate how to use this stratagem to target enemies directly in front of you. Now, the first thing you need to do is measure, because like I said earlier in the video, this stratagem doesn't fire directly in front of itself. It's more of a sniper range than a mid-range or close-range sentry, so you need to measure the distance. You also want to make sure that if you do place it in the extraction zone, you place it to where most of the friendly units are either directly in front of or directly behind it. I personally like to get it to where they're directly behind it, because even though the turret can turn, it doesn't really shoot that close to around itself, and most of the time if you get your friendly units directly behind it, it's a good little safe pocket to where the turret's not going to fire on itself or fire over itself. Another tip I want to give when using this stratagem defensively, if you're trying to defend a location, you also need to be very careful about not placing it too far back. You want it to fire directly in front of the location or slightly on the location. If you place it too far back, it's going to kill everything on the location, including you and your friendly units. That's the main thing when it comes to using this stratagem. You just need to really measure and understand where it's firing and how it's firing. Now, I want you guys to take a look at some of the clips I used here, especially the one where I'm trying to extract, because you see the bugs swarm the turret, but I want you to pay attention to how it's not firing on these bugs, even the ones that got partially close to it. That is the range that you need to, take into account whenever you're using this stratagem. Now, in my opinion, the best way to use this during an extraction is to place it directly on the extraction zone. This will target and clear what's in front of the extraction zone, and this is probably my favorite strategy to use, as it takes some of the aggro off you and your teammates while exclusively dealing damage to enemies in the distance. Now, you definitely still need to measure. Like as you see right here in this clip, the whole front section of the extraction zone is covered in mines. That's why I placed it that far back. If it was not covered in mines, I would not have placed it there. You need to have like a situational awareness, and you also need to make sure that your team is equally as aware as you. Now, I actually did these clips with no mic, but it's honestly preferred if you have direct communication with the people you're playing with to keep from team killing. Now, I actually recommend this stratagem for all the factions in this game. Some people only recommend it for the Autonoman. I use it for both, but I will admit it is slightly more effective against the Autonoman since the bulk of their units fight you at range. The way I generally use it for the bugs is as a distraction or a diversion more so than primary defenses. But it can also be effective for extermination missions and extractions for any faction, in my opinion. I feel like the main thing with the bugs, especially when you start, doing Helldive and, the harder, higher difficulties, you have to deal with a lot of units that target sentries. You have, Bio Titans and you have Chargers. That's what kind of makes it a little bit less effective. But like I said, in that case, I usually like to use it as a distraction or diversion more so than primary defenses. Well, hopefully, man, this was helpful to somebody, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. This is my first time doing guides like this. So, you guys let me know what y'all think. I definitely might revisit it if you guys like it. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.